Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
Relief is what some people are feeling now that an online threat against more than half a dozen schools in San Antonio appears to be over.
A 12-year-old boy is facing criminal charges, even though San Antonio police say the threats he made were not credible. Still, as Katrina Weber shows us, that fear was very real for a lot of parents.
There is no shortage of comments about it on our own online sites. People have been weighing in all weekend on the threats made against 7 local schools and the arrest of a 12-year-old suspect in the case. In a social media post, San Antonio police say he listed dates and schools by name, claiming they were targets for a mass shooting.
Even if he was mad for whatever reason for the school, there's no reason for a threat to be made, you know?
Mark Reyes found out after dropping his child off at Rhodes Middle School, one of those on the list. School police appear to be making their presence known there, even though investigators say the threats were not credible and that the suspect did not own weapons.
It makes me wonder, like, did he have a friend that's behind him on it that's willing to do it too, or was it just him?
The San Antonio Independent School District also tried to put parents at ease with a post on its website. 4 of the schools named are in that district. Aside from his age, we don't know much about the suspect. San Antonio police say they tracked him down with help from the Texas Rangers, as well as police from several school districts.
I'm not saying he should be badly punished, but I think they should keep him away from the school campuses. Keep him, maybe homeschool him.
While many others online seem to disagree with Reyes, the juvenile justice system will have the final say. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
We did check in with juvenile probation about the possible fate of the 12-year-old, and although confidentiality laws prevent them from commenting on this specific case, they did tell us a charge like this likely would not mean jail for someone so young. They say any punishment would be decided, though, on an individual basis.
Frustration from many who testified today in the punishment phase for a couple convicted in a deadly dog attack. Dogs owned by Christian Moreno and Aveline Schneider killed 81-year-old Ramon Najera last year, and now they've been convicted. Neighbor after neighbor spoke today about how the couple had no regard for those who lived around them. They described how their dogs repeatedly got out and terrorized the neighborhood. Neighbors say they would approach the couple about it, but the problem seemed to be ignored. But they also described being ignored by Animal Care Services and SAPD after calling them numerous times.
It was upsetting. I felt like I was just kind of pushed to the side, and nobody cared about the fact that I was attacked by a dog.
Finalmente ellos llegaban.
When finally they would arrive.
How long would it take them to arrive?
Lo mínimo fueron como 1 hora.
Was like 1 hour.
Y lo máximo 5 o 6 horas.
And the maximum was 5 to 6 hours.
Sylvia Avila even went as far as to say that the agencies often abandoned residents on the west side, and nobody told them they could fill out an affidavit to start the process of classifying the dogs as dangerous. Testimony will resume tomorrow around 10 a.m. The couple faces up to 20 years in prison.
And of course, that tragic dog attack shed light on a big problem in our city. Not only stray and dangerous dogs on our city streets, but also the actions or maybe inaction of Animal Care Services. Those actions why the Najera family have filed a federal lawsuit against the city of San Antonio on behalf of Ramon Najera's family and his widow Janie, who was also attacked. This lawsuit says the city is responsible for the damages in this grievous and preventable tragedy. It states the city had taken these dogs off the street, but instead of putting them down, they returned them to owners who had already had numerous complaints against them.
What's sad about this is the city has a habit of failing neighborhoods that already have some issues. Something like this would never, ever have happened on the north side. You'd never have 3 vicious attacks like this. It wouldn't stand. But when it gets to disadvantaged neighborhoods, the city just talks about it, but does nothing.
I called the city attorney's office for a comment, have not heard back. Tomorrow night, by the way, on the Night Beat, a KSAT exclusive. Ramon Najera's wife, Janie, has never publicly talked about that day, her husband of 45 years, and the way her life was shattered by 2 dogs. Janie Najera on her hero husband and how she was saying prayers as the entire violent ordeal played out. Those stories tomorrow night at 10 previews at 5 and 6. Developers and city officials beefing up their plans to help relocate tenants of the soap factory apartments.
The 381-unit apartment complex would be demolished in phases to make way for development around a proposed downtown baseball stadium. Garrett Berger is at City Hall right now, where they just briefed reporters on how they're going to try to take care of these tenants. Garrett.
Now, that question has been one of the main ones that's held up a city council vote on this proposed downtown Mission Stadium. Council members concerned what's going to happen to the people at Soap Factory now. We just heard from members of city staff and the developers and the missions that there's going to be some options that people will be able to move to other units in that same complex until they're demolished. They'll be able to move downtown to another property owned by the developer, or they can possibly get some help moving into Opportunity Home complexes. That's the Public Housing Authority, but these would be more mixed unit or mixed income type units. And there's also the option of getting housing navigation help from a group that they brought in to talk with people on site. Now, there is going to be a community forum this evening that we're headed to right now over at the Soap Factory Apartments, where residents are concerned about what's going to happen to them. We'll have the latest on Nightside. Live at City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Garrett. It has been 3 years since all of South Central Texas was last considered drought-free. The effects of this drought, they've been felt for a while, but this year it means that a local fall staple won't happen for the first time since its inception.
Meteorologist Mia Montgomery took a trip to Hondo to see what should have been this season's corn maze. What happened?
We've had to grow through some dry ones, but never like this.
Ken and Lori Graff have owned and operated the corn maze at Graff 7A Ranch in Hondo since 2001. Created with the hope of showing surrounding communities the importance of agriculture in a fun and recreational way, this year will be the first that the local fall staple will not be available to the public due to the lack of rain and resulting drought.
We just don't have enough water in our well to support the underground drip irrigation, so this is a first.
This is where the corn maze should be this year. You see how tall this particular stalk is? That's how tall this entire field should be. But you can also see that unfortunately isn't the case, largely due in part to this prolonged drought.
Compare that scene to this one. Video of the corn maze in years past showing what it should look like had there been more rain to work with. Medina County is no stranger to prolonged drought, though, having experienced it from late 2010 to 2015. But the Graffs say that even back then, they still had just enough water to get them by. This time around has been a different story, and despite the rain that the Hondo area did see back in late July after the crop had been planted, it still wasn't enough to sustain the irrigation supply needed for the maize.
The creek ran and it actually filled our tank up, and it's right next to our well there, and usually it takes months for it to go dry, and within 7 days there was not a drop left. It sucked it all down. The aquifer took it all up.
Even though the maze won't be a part of this year's fall festivities, Ken and Lori are still turning lemons into lemonade and are offering plenty of other activities for the whole family.
We've got our zip line, our new mega slide, we have the barrel train, we've got the hay bale jump. We're still here. We're going to make the best of this fall festival and keep praying for rain.
Mia Montgomery, KSAT 12 News.
Even with the rain we've had lately, that's just a reminder of how much work is still left to do, essentially, to get out of this drought.
Absolutely. Adam.
Yeah, and that rain came a little too late, unfortunately, as well. Morning low temperatures earlier today down in the lower 50s in the hill country. Burning at 52 this morning. Comfort was 51. Officially at San Antonio International, 63. The coolest morning since May 17th here in town. Now, tomorrow morning, still a pleasant start. We'll be 67 here in town, Southside 69, and right near 60 and some upper 50s in the hill country. But the morning temperature trend, it's on the upswing, and we're back into the 70s for those sunrise temperatures starting Wednesday with the return of the humidity. More importantly, we have Tropical Storm Francine to talk about. You see the little eye forming. We'll get to it in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Let's go live right now. Let's take you to I-10 and Foster Road. Believe this is the eastbound lanes of I-10 that are coming towards us. Very slow going. A lot of construction out here. That may be part of the reason for the slowdown, but you can see it's really just stop and go right there at I-10 and Foster Road.
Happening later on this week, it is Doc Talk, and this week we're focusing on kids' health. Scan this QR code to type in any medical question that you would like to take to a local doctor concerning your child, and a local pediatrician will join us here at KSAT to answer it. Doc Talk airs every Thursday at 6:30.
Also want to tell you about something that's happening tomorrow in conjunction with the presidential debate. KSAT's going to host a debate night watch party over at the Friendly Spot Ice House on South Alamo Street. The watch party will be from 7 till 10 o'clock Tuesday night, the same time as the debate, right here on KSAT 12.
Still ahead here on the news at 6, a story of art and transformation. We follow a young artist at Haven for Hope who turns personal struggles into some amazing creations. His journey of hope and healing is next.
But first, let's take a live look outside with Live Cam. A tropical storm heading towards the Gulf Coast. Meteorologist Adam Caskey will tell us the storm and if it will have an impact on Texas. Coming up.
Now to a story born out of curiosity. Courtney Friedman and photojournalist Adam Barraza were at Haven for Hope weeks ago doing a story on their new youth program.
And while there, they noticed the beautiful artwork all around the common room. They found out the artist was one of the young clients, so they went back, where 23-year-old Suman Bynes Karki brought some blank canvases and taught Courtney how to paint. That quiet demeanor blossomed while he opened up about his difficulties and how his art gets him through it.
Okay, so just show me what we would do.
Okay, so for the cloud scenery, I think it would be good to give, I want to start off by giving you the right kind of brushes.
Okay, how did you learn how to do this?
Well, I started when I was relatively young. It's been a real way of just helping me out.
Yeah. Like mental health and calming?
Definitely. I generally start off with an outline.
So I'm going to mix this together?
Yeah.
I know you've moved around a little bit.
Before I was at Haven, I was living with my mother and father.
Okay. And so what led you to come here?
There was a little bit of a disagreement with regard to my independence as an adult.
And so you just wanted something more stable for yourself?
Yeah, I needed to be in a position where I could provide for myself as an adult. When I made it to the youth program, I was really particularly happy.
They're helping with housing. Is that one of your goals?
That was a major goal of mine.
So is this the horizon?
Yes,
okay.
So the horizon is going to be the bottom of the page. For the next step, I think it would be beneficial. So that actually looks amazing.
Oh my God, really? Yes. Thank you.
I would add little, like, I guess you can say almost dots.
Okay. Getting at Haven, are there certain programs that you're feeling connected to as well?
Yes, I'm really enjoying the therapy appointment that I'm having right at this point.
Are they getting you ready for careers?
I'm very excited. Ready to Work has helped me in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It's basically covering my entire 2-year education. So one thing I would like to do for the background is just a bright yellow.
Okay.
And we're just going to paint around the clouds.
Okay. I went rogue on a color. Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Being homeless or experiencing homelessness, what kind of emotions used to come up with that?
I would say sorrow, a lot of sorrow. I would say a lot of sorrow because in the beginning when I was first here, I felt like I was in a position where I was, like the world itself was against me.
Where did you find that attitude switch? What do you think happened where you went from sorrow to this is fate?
That happened like instantaneously.
Really? Wow.
One thing I gathered from the Bible essentially was that a bad thing does not have to be a bad thing if you do the right thing, essentially.
So this is a self-portrait.
Yes.
You can tell. That means you did a good job because we knew it was you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Self-portraits are really interesting. Sometimes people kind of avoid that, kind of looking inward. What did it feel like painting yourself, especially in the situation you're in?
I was surprised because it looked really, like I was really happy.
So if I'm getting green on this, I should wipe it off and get more white, right?
Most likely,
okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yours came out amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I think it was really good.
I'm so impressed. Wow. Thank you so much for this. This has just been getting to hear your story, but also learning this. This is something I'm going to take away. So thank you.
Ma'am.
All right.
Yeah, that's so cool.
One of the things I love about that story is there's so many stereotypes about what experiencing homelessness, what those people are, who they are, what they are all about. And Suman, I think through his art and through teaching and just opening up to Courtney, broke down a lot of those stereotypes. And I think you find that a lot, especially at Haven for Hope.
And it shows you that something truly beautiful can come out of a second chance, which is what so many people are there trying to get.
Yeah. We need to keep track of Suman, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Courtney, you had a great teacher, but you did well.
Yeah. Suman,
Nicely
me
done.
next. I can't do Pictionary because my art is so bad.
Oh, I was like, where are we going with
I do
this?
stick
Okay.
figures. I went to Abe Lincoln. See the big hat?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you know.
Didn't the beard give it away?
Yeah,
come on, honey. Yeah, I know. I can relate to you with that as well. Stick figures. Stick to the stick figures. I don't know how my daughter is so good at art. You know how sometimes like those genes run in the family somewhere, right?
Yeah. Just not here.
Yeah, not me either.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Courtney, though. And that was good. I want to start off with satellite imagery here. High-res satellite imagery of Tropical Storm Francine in the Gulf of Mexico. This is a strengthening system, and one thing you'll notice here over this couple-hour lapse is how it's actually getting more well-defined eye in the center of that storm, starting to get that center of circulation that's really well-defined, and you can almost see a subtle eye starting to form. And actually, radar data from Brownsville, it's within reach of the Brownsville Doppler radar, does show this little eye that's starting to develop just offshore within the radar signature. You don't see it perfectly from the satellite imagery, but you can very well see that there from the radar information. And this is another clear sign that this storm is strengthening, and it's likely to become a hurricane later tonight, if not tonight, by first thing tomorrow morning. The latest from the Hurricane Center update was at 4 p.m. We'll get another update at 7 o'clock, and I'll post that on KSAT.com right away. Is max sustained winds of 65 miles per hour closer to that center of circulation. But you can see its broad stretch across a good chunk of the Gulf of Mexico. And there's very good agreement because of the steering flow we have in place right now that this is going to be pushed right into the Louisiana coastline. There's a chance parts of East Texas could have landfall, but most likely it's going to be Louisiana and then go right up the Mississippi River as a weakening system and just remnant rain. But likely to become a Category 2 hurricane. That'd be about 100 mile per hour winds as it just scrapes near the Texas Gulf Coast and then likely makes landfall along the Louisiana coastline. That would be Wednesday afternoon as that Category 2 storm, then quickly weakening over land as they always do, but still dumping a lot of rain up the Mississippi all the way into parts of Illinois and Kentucky, getting in on some of the remnants of this system. Storm surge, not really a big factor here for the Texas coastline because we're on what's the clean side of the system, not that front right quadrant. And so overall storm surge along the Texas coast, just due to the orientation of the wind, maybe 1 to 2 feet above the normal tides for any given hour. Maybe water levels about 1 to 2 feet higher, but very different story as you get into Louisiana, of course, because they're going to have these onshore winds. Look at that counterclockwise circulation and especially the rain stratification. Deep South Texas down in the valley, likely to have several inches of rain, but it's not likely to move inland very much. Possibly to Lavaca County, DeWitt County, maybe a shower or two Gonzales County, but that would be it. Most of the rain is going to be East Texas and especially Louisiana, and then points northward where the remnants go. Looking at our rain chances, 20% by Sunday and Monday. That's it. So this is really no impact on San Antonio. That 20% Sunday and Monday is because of a separate Pacific burst of energy and moisture. But looking at the rainfall potential here, look at this, right along the coast of Louisiana, 7 inches, whereas Victoria, Texas, we're talking only about 1/10 of an inch, and that's about it. Tomorrow morning, we start the day at 67. By the afternoon, we're up to 92. Humidity returns, and you're going to feel it on Wednesday. That means warmer mornings are back in place. We'll talk more about the average peak to the hurricane season and where we are. coming right up.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Adam.
All right, so my question for our friend Larry Ramirez is, are we in uncharted territory when it comes to Jeff Traylor and UTSA?
I think slightly, because now they have to go up to UT and play the second-ranked Longhorns, and that is certainly not going to be an easy task. So coming up, Jeff Traylor's reflecting on his loss to the Texas State Bobcats. He says, hey, they just outplayed us, but there is one phase of the game he was surprised that didn't play better. And Dak's teammates already have ideas on how he can spend his new money on them. Coming up.
Here's the biggest difference. Yes, we have had our teeth kicked in before. I'd say this is the fourth time, honestly. Though we didn't have the University of Texas waiting on us, the number 2 team in the country and arguably the best team in the country and the loudest place you can play, arguably, in the country.
After taking one on the chin, things don't get any easier for Coach Traylor and his Roadrunners in Big Board Sports. Today, during his Zoom session with the media, UTSA head football coach Jeff Traylor talked about the Roadrunners' 49-10 loss to the Texas State Bobcats Saturday afternoon in San Marcos. The Bobcats had 511 yards of offense compared to 334 for the Roadrunners. Coach Traylor was asked what did he see after watching the game tape.
I thought Texas State definitely outplayed us. They were more physical. They broke a lot of tackles. Defensively, we just did not play where I thought we were going to. I thought our defense would keep us in the ball game long enough. We knew we were going to struggle offensively a little bit. So now it's 7-3, and you look up, it's 14-3. And then you look up, it's 21-3. I mean, it got away from us, and I really thought our defense would carry us until we kind of figured it out, and it didn't happen.
1-1 UTSA will play at 2-0 Texas Saturday night at 6. The Roadrunners are 34.5-point underdogs to the second-ranked team in the country. Texas State quarterback Jordan McLeod was named as the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week for the period ending September 8th. The conference announced today. In just his second game as a Bobcat, he accounted for 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing, in Texas State's victory over the Roadrunners. McLeod gathered 309 passing yards, completing 18 of his 27 passing attempts. He had 30 yards rushing on 6 carries. McLeod is the first Texas State player to earn the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week award since T.J. Finley in 2023. All right, Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott got a lot of love from the Browns after he beat them 33-17 yesterday. Now, that's customary. It's what some players do after a team wins. They tell the other guys, hey, good job. But this time it was a little different, as the Browns were also praising Dak for getting his record $260 million payday with $231 million guaranteed. The NFL is a brotherhood, so giving Dak props is natural. As for his own teammates, Dak told us he celebrated that moment with Zeke and that some of his other teammates already have plans for how Dak can spend his money.
Yeah, it was special. The first guy hugged after getting the news, honestly. I think about a guy that really took care of me for the first couple of years when you talk about, like, finances. He did. And, you know, whether it be partying, dinners, whatever it did, he's a guy that wouldn't let me pull out my wallet, took care of me. So whether it's Malik Davis or the running backs, trying to tell everybody to get their wrist size to me, whether it's Terp telling me I owe him $1,500 a week.
For what?
Because he's Terp. Yeah, I don't know, just a lot. But a lot of congratulations. More of those than anything. And yeah, blessed to be these guys' quarterback and to be the quarterback here, and excited for next week.
And that game is Sunday afternoon at home with the New Orleans Saints. So I think Dak's going to be asked to pay for a lot of things.
Yeah, sending in wrist sizes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry.
We are talking tech in San Antonio in our KSAT Q&A up next. There is an effort to grow the tech industry in San Antonio. Perhaps not a city you think of when it comes to tech, but we are joined by someone today who wants to change that. Ileana Gonzalez, the CEO of Tech Block, is here for our Q&A. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about Tech Block, what it is, how long it's been in San Antonio.
Yeah, so Tech Block was born about 9 years ago, and it was an effort and a movement from the tech ecosystem to bring back Uber and Lyft because the city just did not allow it. And so that's how Tech Block was born. And now it's changed a little bit, just like all tech, right, from 9-10 years ago. And so I took over the organization. We're still a nonprofit that activates the tech ecosystem. It just looks a little different now.
So does San Antonio, would you say we have a thriving tech community? What does that industry look like here locally?
We definitely have a thriving tech community. It's just spread out, right? It's not in just the one density downtown. It's just all over San Antonio, with Port San Antonio being one of the big leading hubs in the nation. So there is a thriving tech ecosystem. We just have to strengthen it in every single iteration and cycle.
Yeah, so 9 years ago, Tech Block starts. Are we seeing progress in bringing some of these technology companies and technology workers, perhaps most importantly, to our area?
Most definitely. My board chair now, Will Conway, right? He had one of the biggest exits that a tech company has had, and he's here in San Antonio. So there is, that movement, that progress, and we continue to build it with Tech Block.
Right. Rackspace hurt, though.
Yes, correct.
Rackspace leaving, yeah.
Yeah, so Rackspace, now being smaller than it was before and, not being able to keep up with the trends of tech, we definitely hurt as an ecosystem because they were doing a lot of upskilling. They were doing a lot of that community building. And so those are some of the things that I saw this year as I took over that are some of the challenges that we have as a tech ecosystem that I'm now, forced to be able to take care of as the tech leading organization that we are.
Yeah, you've been the CEO of Tech Block for just about a year now. Over. So would you say there are hurdles with growing the tech industry or bringing more tech companies to San Antonio?
There definitely is, but now we're just coming together as an ecosystem where we're working together to really identify what is each ecosystem player here to bring to the table so that we're able to attract and retain.
Talk about Mexico.
Yeah.
I have a friend that works in computers, works in accounting, technology, very important to him. He has a lot of people that actually work remotely from Mexico.
Correct.
How important is being so close to the border helping San Antonio? Or are we not capitalizing on that as much as we should?
So I'm an immigrant myself. I came to the U.S. when I was 14. And so I actually moved to San Antonio because it was home away from home, right? And so when I took over as CEO of Tech Block, I saw the opportunity for us to, and everybody's talking about it, nearshoring, right? What is nearshoring? It's pretty much you outsourcing talent to a city, right, or country right next to you, which for us, it's Mexico. We can even look at the rest of Latin America. So for San Antonio to be able to grow their tech talent, they're going to need to do this nearshoring because talent in Latin America is about 1/8 of what it is of tech talent here in the U.S. And so as San Antonio grows companies and they nearshore talent, they're able to grow and scale faster because there is that proximity. And because we are also, and Tech Block is leading now the narrative of why don't you come and move to San Antonio and scale your company here and expand to the U.S. through the community that we're building because we're culturally apt to be able to welcome you like we do. And like I just said, San Antonio is home away from home. So for a lot of these tech CEOs and companies, they need to expand to the US because Latin America is actually not having a lot of exits. And so they need to have capture a US market, which we're telling them, come and establish yourself, grow headquarters here, and then capitalize on the US market from here.
It seems like a perfect partnership.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. And so we have gone to Monterrey. We've gone to Guadalajara. We're about to go over to Querétaro with the mayor in a week. And then we're going to Mexico City for Mexico Tech Week. And we're telling them about, hey, consider San Antonio to be a city where you're able to expand your company into. And that's the way that we're able to attract. And at the same time, these same CEOs that are a little bit, more seasoned are able to be mentors for those that are growing here. So that's how you take care of an entire tech ecosystem.
And Tech Block has a new initiative. You guys are launching a community platform. Talk about that.
That's correct. So Tech Block, you went to the events, cool, awesome, and then you just kind of dropped a little, right? So the gap that I identified is how do we continue to just stay connected? And now life after COVID needs to be online. So we are super excited to be launching a community platform where people can come in and talk to each other, DM each other, see what the insights and trends are, see what the news are, see what the events are, and keep up with each other. So now I have people actually that have onboarded from Monterrey, from Mexico City, now kind of connecting with our community here, and they're seeing what's happening. And so there's no better way to attract than its own people. And that's what the Tech Block platform is for.
So hopefully somebody's out there, they're watching, they want to scale up in San Antonio. How do they start? Where's the very first place they should go?
So you go to SA Tech Block, you click join, and you click either for a startup membership that gives you either $350,000 of perks of credits that you can host your website on, use it operationally, or you can join as an individual member because you might be an employee, you might be thinking about it, and you just join. It's only $50 an entire year. We're a nonprofit. I'm not making a profit off of this. This is all community work, right, for everybody to onboard, and it's a low barrier entry cost, right? So satechblock.com, click join, and you become a member. You're on the platform.
And that's, I was going to say, that's where you get more information on the community platform.
That's exactly.
And unveiling it on Thursday.
That's correct. So we do have an event on Thursday at Smoke Sky Bar. It's going to be in the second floor, all covered indoor, and it's from 6 to about 8. That's going to be our big membership drive. I'll tell you what the platform looks like, how to onboard, and of course, come and enjoy a drink with us.
Of course.
Ileana Gonzalez, thanks so much for being here, CEO of Tech Block.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. We'll be right back. Could be the billion-dollar question. What will it cost to build a new Spurs Arena and entertainment district in downtown San Antonio?
Well, some emails from the city show an ambitious price tag to bring the Spurs back to Hemisphere. RJ Marquez breaks down the details as the Spurs look toward their potential future home.
It's go big to go home for the city of San Antonio as the city tries to get the Spurs back to their roots at Hemisphere. We received emails showing how massive a move like this would be. In fact, the project has an impressive code name, Project Marvel. And it has a pretty big price tag as well, an estimated $3 to $4 billion to transform the southeast part of downtown San Antonio. So here's what we know based on the emails we received from an open records request. In June of 2023, City Assistant Manager Lori Houston emailed several real estate and consulting companies saying the city was, quote, exploring the development of a sports and entertainment district. In one specific email to a commercial real estate firm, Houston wrote on behalf of the city saying, quote, we are in the feasibility phase for a $3 to $4 billion sports and entertainment district. In another email thread from Lori Houston to Johnson Consulting, the CEO of that company wrote back saying that, quote, they just finished working with UTSA on all of their sports facilities, so we are fairly dialed in. Houston and the city then emailed a series of non-disclosure agreements to those companies, and records show a virtual meeting was planned for June 23rd of last year. The NDAs is where the codename Project Marvel first appears. The city requested any information related to Project Marvel remain confidential, and it certainly would be a marvelous project. We reported months ago the city is eyeing Hemisphere and the Institute of Texas and Cultures as a potential site for a new arena, which would likely cost about $1 billion. In a statement at KSAT in April, Houston wrote that the city's interest in that site included expanding the Gonzalez Convention Center, major upgrades to the Alamo Dome, and a potential land bridge over I-37. RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
Look outside with live cam. Another great morning out there. We've enjoyed the last couple. Now the question, how long is this going to last?
Not much longer. Tomorrow morning is still going to feel good, relative to what we've been through. But temperatures, especially in the morning, are on the upswing. 67 to start the day tomorrow. Then it's back in the low to mid 70s. And that's a clear sign that the humidity is back starting early Wednesday morning. But tomorrow morning, burning at 59, Comfort 58. 69 on the south side of San Antonio, Converse 68, and on the north side will be about 67. Then by the afternoon, 92, the high temperature. And we do have a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico. We need to get to that. I'll have Francine where it's headed, how strong it's going to get in just a bit.
Loving these morning temperatures, but some questions about what's going on in the Gulf, Adam.
Yeah,
will it affect us?
Not really. That's the thing. Here in San Antonio, not much. And just a little bit along the Texas Gulf Coast. Louisiana, that's a different story. I want to take a look at the average peak of the hurricane season, of course, in the Atlantic Basin, which is what we're a part of. And it's September 10th, which is tomorrow. That's the average peak and where you see that big spike in activity. Now, it has been a little slow, to be honest with you, the past few weeks leading up to this peak in activity. And we will get to Francine right there in the Gulf very soon. But I want to take a look at the rest of the Atlantic. And there are a few areas that we're watching a potential development and pretty likely development, but that's way out in the eastern Atlantic at this time. And right now, not even considering it possibly moving into the Gulf of Mexico. I want to point out, we had a lot of sunshine today, and in place, not just at the ground, but up above us, we have this very dry air indicated by these orange colors on the water vapor imagery. This is a satellite imagery that is just looking at and detecting water vapor, the water vapor in the air in the mid and upper levels. Offshore, different story, and that's a result of what is now Tropical Storm Francine, likely to turn into Hurricane Francine, if not tonight, by first thing tomorrow morning. And the Doppler radar out of Brownsville is showing a well-defined center of circulation there. And the reason you don't see the storms on the east side of this is because it's out of range of the Doppler radar. The nearest one is Brownsville, and that's what's picking up on this activity. That's then going to be brushing against the Texas coast in terms of some of the showers on the outside of that system. Max sustained winds 65 miles per hour, heading to the north-northwest at 17, but likely to be turned eastward and then parallel along the Texas Gulf Coast before making landfall Wednesday afternoon along the Louisiana coastline. And it even could be potentially far east Texas, but this is basically heading toward Louisiana as a Category 2 hurricane. That would be maximum sustained winds in the eye wall around 100 miles per hour. So definitely problematic. And then the remnants, problematic for Louisiana in particularly, remnants headed northward up the Mississippi River, and the computer models in very, very good agreement here, pretty tight clustering right along that Texas-Louisiana state line, or even a little bit eastward into Louisiana for that landfall. Then it weakens and the remnants dump rain up the midsection of the country. Storm surge, not a big threat for Texas, around 1 to 2 feet. So the water level of the Gulf would be about 1 to 2 feet higher than it would at any given tide, right? So higher than normal tide. But you get into Louisiana and that's a different situation, of course. On the front right side of it, what we call the dirty side of the hurricane, it could be over 9 feet above normal tide level. The actual water, that would be the storm surge with this system. Here's a look at the futurecast with it, and the highest winds being shown here right around the center of it. Rain, some heavy rain down in the valley, Brownsville area, 4 to 6 inches possibly there, but far lesser amounts along the rest of the Texas Gulf Coast. We're not looking at nearly as much rainfall. You notice how it really just skims along the Texas Gulf Coast, with down near Brownsville getting most of the rainfall, which would be a maximum of about 4 to 5 inches of rain with this system. Around here, we're going to be sunny and dry, but humidity, you're going to notice it by Wednesday morning.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
Surfing dogs. That's all you have to say. It's in the buzz coming up.
In the buzz today, we start in Rome, where government officials say a lightning strike hit the ancient Arch of Constantine. It knocked a chunk of stone from that structure. Witnesses told news outlets they heard the lightning strike and they saw the debris fall.
Yeah, there you see a piece of it that was hit. Officials were able to collect and protect the fallen fragments. They're now assessing the damage, which happened to coincide with an already underway renovation of the 1,700-year-old Roman landmark.
Good timing, I guess. Some dogs got soggy for a good cause this weekend. 50 dogs and their owners met up at the Dog Beach in Del Mar Sunday morning for the Helen Woodward Animal Center's Dog Surfathon.
Yeah, all they needed was some Alpo and a tasty wave. It's the longest running dog surfing event in the nation. It raises funds for local services that take care of at-risk or orphan dogs. Canines of all kinds and sizes took part in the contest. It's a little backward move there, in case you didn't know. By the way, when dogs were asked about the waves, they said they were rough.
Kasky got that one.
Yeah,
he knew where you were
coming.
going. We'll be right back.
Mornings warming up in the days ahead. You're going to notice the temperatures back at sunrise. Mid to upper 60s tomorrow, but then we're well into the 70s for those morning readings by Wednesday, and that's going to stick around. It's back to reality. A lot of sunshine as well. With that sunshine, though, there will be some more noticeable humidity returning by Wednesday.
All right. Thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching the news at 6.
Monday Night Football up next. We'll see you after the game.